Even with a cloudy forecast, it's liftoff time for Celsius energy drinks in 3, 2, 1. Can Celsius energy drinks become more than just an impulse purchase and move into a health-minded consumer's daily lifestyle? Similar to the last quarterly earnings report that I put together for Celsius Holdings, if you've not watched that video, I'll pop that video up for you guys to watch it because it was the first quarterly breakdown that I did for this energy beverage brand. It might give you a little bit of an insight about how I'm going to be putting these videos together, because a lot of times they follow a similar flow, even though a lot of times I have different kind of intents or goals with each video in terms of what I want to bring out from an insights or highlight perspective. But I'll utilize their 2020 quarter 2 earnings report and earnings call to draw out some different insights around the broader energy drink category, also around how a emerging growth beverage brand is performing through the difficult COVID-19 retailing environment. So I want to just kind of start off, jump into some of the top line revenue numbers for Celsius Holdings. In terms of quarter 2 of 2020, they had $30 million in revenue. That was up 86.3% year over year. And there was also a sequential quarter over quarter growth of 6.4%. Now, if you're looking at that 86.3% year over year growth and you're saying, wow, that's crazy, that's very impressive, I do have to kind of knock it down a little bit here and let you know that they did, in October of 2019, they acquired their Nordic partner, Funk Food Group. And because of that acquisition, you are seeing those numbers be a lot higher. So the organic growth number is much smaller than that. If we break this down by regions, North America, you had revenues of 20.8%. That was up 44% year over year. Now Europe, where Funk Food Group was operating, the European region had revenue of $8.8 million, and that was up 595% year over year. So like I said, a lot of where the growth is at. And then in terms of China and the other regions, they had $433,000 in revenue. In terms of their gross margin, it was 43.3% for the quarter. That was up 70 basis points. Now looking at Celsius Holdings retail base, growing retail base, they now have around 74,000 retail doors in the North American market. That's up around 9,000 to 10,000 from the last quarter that they reported this. And I'm expecting that number to continue to grow because currently right now within the COVID-19 retailing environment, a lot of what was going to happen from a merchandising reset did not happen in the first half of the year, and a lot of that's getting pushed to the second half of the year. So I would expect some additional incremental growth in retail distribution points for Celsius in the second half of 2020. Now, I made mention to what was happening around Bang Energy and the distribution deal that they had with PepsiCo, and then how Bang Energy leaving a lot of the independent DSD distributors then opened up a ton of opportunity for other energy beverage brands. And I made a whole video on this topic. I will pop up that video here for you guys to watch that one if you're interested. It has a ton of different insights and kind of predictions around the energy beverage category and what's going to happen over the next probably 12 months. But as predicted in that video, I talked about Celsius energy drinks being the number one brand in terms of gaining DSD distributors because of the Bang Energy PepsiCo deal. From a quarter over quarter basis, they gained about 35 new DSD distributors. And now 70% of the largest US metro areas are now covered by DSD distributors for Celsius Holdings. And this is extremely important because DSD distributors help Celsius because they have a smaller team if you consider them over, PepsiCo or Coca-Cola or Monster Beverage or Red Bull. They have a lot less bodies in the field, and having DSD distributors, it provides a face. And in beverage, faces sell cases, because when you're in front of somebody and you're able to stock coolers and you're stock shelves, you're able to sell more incremental cases. So having more DSD distributors helps Celsius sell more in existing accounts, because a lot of those accounts are going to get turned over to DSD distributors, and adding new incremental accounts because of these DSD distributor deals. Now, moving a little bit opposite of the DSD side and looking at the digital channel, Celsius actually has been very strong in this area for a long time, and they continue to be very strong, especially in an Amazon perspective. For the 4 weeks ending July 18th of 2020, their Amazon sales saw a year-over-year growth of 213%. That gives them a category share of around 11.3%, which is bigger than all other energy drink brands except for Monster Energy and Red Bull. So if you think about this from a digital over a physical, like Celsius is just in the top 10 energy drink brands, but are the number 3 from an Amazon perspective. So they're definitely outkicking their coverage on the digital channel, which in a second I'll talk about why that is so important. Their new product launch of their Peach Vibe flavor did quickly move up to the number 1 selling Amazon energy drink new release. So that did extremely well on Amazon. And then going back to just like how important the digital channel is and why this is something that all energy drink brands should be paying attention to. And I recently made an infographic that showed the market share differences in the top 5 energy drink brands. This is honestly a land grab that right now will decide the next few decades. So it's extremely important that these energy drink brands, and honestly all categories of CPG, should be looking at the digital channel as a completely new market and something that they need to secure like they did in previous retail models. Amazon is definitely one battleground. It's extremely important because it is the leading digital retailer, but this strategy to win digital shelves needs to be replicated for each of the different online marketplaces from each retail channel. With energy drinks, because a lot of that sales come from convenience channel, that means also considering convenience channel e-commerce retailers like GoPuff or the new offering from DoorDash. With Celsius Holdings being considered more in the functional energy drink category, I want to go over some like puts and takes that are happening with that category because of the current kind of COVID-19 environment that we're in. A lot of what Celsius is trying to combat, and what all functional energy drinks are trying to combat on some level or another, is that they're trying to move away from them being thought of as a pre-workout product or something that is a pre-activity impulse buy. They're trying to have this be included into their like a health conscious individual's like daily lifestyle. The category is definitely still seeing a ton of growth, high growth from the Bang Energy effect. There's a lot of new consumers entering the market, which are different than the consumer makeup of energy drink past. In this functional energy drink category is also starting to fragment, which is good for Celsius because of some of the things they do within their products. Now, all of that being said, Celsius does have long kind of standing relationship with fitness consumers and within kind of the sports nutrition world because of where they originally started from. And that's an area that's had a ton of pressure because of COVID-19 and should have continuing pressure into the back half of 2020. The health club / like specialty supplement channel for Celsius has made up about 20 to 25% of their sales traditionally. And a lot of that has been either closed or had restrictions over the last quarter. So that really fell down to almost nothing for Celsius. But a good sign is that even with those two channels basically closing, a lot of the consumers still went to buy Celsius products through some different channels. So they had sales velocity at grocery stores increased, and then also online sales, as I mentioned earlier with Amazon, increased about 2 to 3 times previous year's channel sales. So they were able to replace that lost revenue and increase it even more to a record selling quarter. So that's a really good sign that people are thinking about Celsius in a different way. And will the demographics of Celsius help? They describe their customer a little bit differently than the traditional energy beverage customer. They're saying from a gender perspective, they're close to 50-50. Their age demographic does age up a lot of cases. Some of their product categories upwards of the 45 to 50-year-old range, and is likely because of the ingredient decks on their products. They utilize a lot of like herbal ingredients and they call those out on packaging. So it will interest some different customer groups. And they're saying that the Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z generations over-indexing in terms of buying some of these functional energy drinks will be a positive for Celsius. And a lot of times these new entrants, energy drink customers that are coming into the market now are more health conscious. They're not buying the same traditional energy beverages as the previous generations. So that also kind of plays into a positive with Celsius. The brand is also trying to play around with some product and pricing positioning that's a little bit different than the category. The overall energy beverage category is very much promotionally driven. It's something that you'll see wild swings in terms of the price elasticity when there is some sensitivity to price for promotions. You'll see a lot of them kind of fall off when they end the promotion. You'll see them kind of spike in terms of sales velocity when they are on promotion. Just kind of seems to be the thing with energy drinks. But that is not the strategy that Celsius is deploying right now. They were trying to premiumize the product category. They're trying to keep their products within the premium section. They're said to not be running as aggressive promotions comparable to other energy drinks, but they will utilize that in terms of gaining trial and gaining awareness within new accounts and new opportunities in the market. And I believe for them to do that, they're going to have to consistently kind of create new innovations to feed into where some of the fragments are going within the functional energy drink category. I think with them having a history within the nutraceutical or sports nutrition world, they do understand that there's a lot of availability for them to take chances, and they do have some leeway to do that because of their history. So for Celsius energy drinks to keep that premium price point, they're going to have to kind of lean into that health and fitness founding story and create unique products that will eventually make larger competitors create some defensive product launches to siphon off some of the fragmented demand that they're building. I also think they need to stay creative with the flavors. Don't just go out with the basic flavors that anybody else is coming out with, and not some of the creative flavors that you're seeing from some of their competitors. I think you have to go completely in a different direction. Those flavors should be more natural, unique, but they do have to watch with adding some of these extra nutraceutical ingredients that their taste stays at the level at which consumers are expecting it. That's been an issue and been an area where I think some resistance has been built because Celsius energy drinks, at least some of them, are not, in my opinion, in the top tier of flavoring. And for them to take chances on the ingredient decks, they need to kind of really take their time to create flavor systems that still put those products to be in the top tier of best tasting energy beverages. There should never be a case where somebody says this tastes good for X. It should taste good for the whole category. It has nothing to do with their ingredient decks being more extensive. They should not be thinking about functionality before flavor. Flavor still leads the category, even though functionality is in a close second. Final thoughts on Celsius. They did provide a little bit of forward-looking sales performance. In July, they saw US-based sales growing about 50% year over year. So that is accelerating over this quarter's 44%. So while a lot of the kind of dynamics of the market hasn't changed all that much over the last quarter, especially around COVID-19, any incremental kind of lessening of movement restrictions or opening up of gyms and some of that channel that really dial got turned to zero on, if you can get any positive results in that area, I think will provide some extra positive momentum for them throughout the back half of this year.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.